We're back.
Yo.
Another week. Reptile Hangouts podcast. How you doing, guys? Sorry if I sound a little whatever. Super ass kicking from pollen right now. My head feels like the Hey Arnold guy. Yeah, my head feels about 6 feet wide. It is what it is. We got all the windows open because that's what we do when there's pollen out, right? So either way, how you doing, man? I missed you guys last
Good.
week.
Yeah, we missed having you on for sure. Um, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Doing. Been busy this week. Busier than normal, than I have been for months.
Working
Because I've been
working on these.
making myself, work on the thesis. I've adopted a new philosophy that if I go down to the lab every day that I possibly can and do something, then eventually it will just get done. As opposed to just not doing anything at all, because they'll never
I
get done
forget
that way.
who I forget who said it. It might come to me later on, but maybe some Roman, somebody I don't know. But just getting if you can just get started, you're halfway done.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
getting
So
started and getting rolling, that's half the battle.
yep, that's what I'm doing.
Sure, for sure.
But yeah,
So
so let's do the normal. Let's do the normal U.S. Arc talk. Let's give a little plug for our boys at U.S. Arc before we jump into our normal uh, other routines. If you watch the show, you know U.S. Arc is the way to go.
what's
What's
up,
up,
Cal?
Kyle? Yeah, Kyle's in. Hey, buddy. Yeah, so definitely support U.S. Arc, guys. United States Association of Reptile Keepers. They're fighting for our rights to keep these animals, and they are constantly under attack. Sometimes in specific areas, but as of right now, nationwide, with the Lacey Act amendments and the America Competes Act, we've been drilling it home to you every week. Um, go to US Arc, find out what to do, or go to Tiki's Geckos page. Obviously, they have a really nice setup on their page to find all your senators and contact everybody to let them know that you oppose these Lacey Act amendments, which will basically destroy this hobby in the long run if they get passed as they are. So, go to usarc.org. We got links down in the description for you guys. There's also a link for the USARC YouTube channel, which is brand new. Garrett Hartle from Reach Out Reptiles is helping with that. They've been posting videos. That channel needs our support as well. Go there and subscribe, watch the videos, like the videos, give them all the support they need. This is a whole nother avenue for them to develop or
Yep.
not develop, create funds to help fight these unlawful pieces of legislation. So uh, definitely do that.
Gotta check them out, man. Gotta check them out.
Yep.
I am so sorry. Mm,
Bless you.
yeah, man, can't stop it. Can't stop the track. So what's new, man? Shit. What's not new? There's so much going on right now. Recently acquired a jungle carpet python from Gabe, who's unfortunately unable to join us tonight. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous animal. I wish I would have prepped a little better. I could have had him down and showed you, but enjoying that, man. Loving snake life as always. Still loving chameleon life. Everything's going good over here. Dad life, that's a challenge, but it's coming around. So
Most
you know,
definitely.
what do you got going on?
All kinds of stuff, man. I mean, we just talked about it. It's been really hitting the trying to finish grad school and stop being a college student thing really hard this week. Plan on just keeping on going, like I said, just until it's done. Um, Made a lot of headway getting through data for chapter 3, which is the final chapter, and
Yep.
yeah, trying to do that. So that's mostly what I've been doing this week. But I've been trying to stay on top of everything else here too. Geckos, just making sure everybody's under the same normal routine. Haven't had any new breeding developments or anything this week. Where we got eggs. Hopefully, going to be dropping again here in the next couple weeks from all of the females that were paired up in the beginning of February. They've all dropped a clutch now. So we'll be looking for that cycle to start over again in the next couple weeks. yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on around here, man. Trying to finish an upgrade for my banded geckos so I can move them into a 20-gallon tank. Have that tin that
How
they
are their
live in
eggs
now.
doing?
They look good. Yeah, they're still plump. They're not molding over or anything. I've got them in this incubator. I preach the Hovabator, man. The Hovabators are great incubators. They're rock solid. They're not expensive. That's what I have been using for years. I had got a deal with the guy who comes to our reptile shows here in West Virginia. He owns a store in Ohio, a storefront pet store. So he comes and he brings all the supplies to the show. He's the big supply guy. I wanted him to get me an incubator with cooling capability so that I could do my crested gecko and gargoyle gecko eggs in a cooler incubator, something that's not room temperature. And I'm pretty sure I'm just talking to myself because you are frozen. But I'm going to keep going for the sake of the fact that we're live. Charles seems to be frozen. But anyway, I wanted to get a cooling incubator. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to get me one, but he did say he could get me a different kind of incubator made by Exoterra. So he got it for me, and I kind of felt obligated to buy it from him. It's wicked expensive, even at cost. It's called the Incubator Pro from Exoterra, and it looks a lot like a Hovabator. Got a clear lid, styrofoam body, but it's all digital on top, and it's actually working really well so far. So, so far so good with that incubator. If you look it up, if you find it, it's got to be probably over $300 retail, but it's not going to. Hey, there he is.
Man, it's a constant
There
battle.
he is.
I don't even know why we pay for internet.
Maybe.
Nope, here it goes
Oh,
again. Yeah,
right.
it's probably
Yeah. Why would
happening.
you
I
at
don't
this
even know
point?
why I pay for internet. I'm about to just hotspot from my phone, and it'll work perfect. I don't know what's going on, man. I'm frozen
Yeah,
again. All right.
that sucks.
Yeah, man.
No,
I
you're
don't
not.
know.
I can
So
hear you and see you.
hopefully my shit gets straight. I don't know what's going on, man.
Maybe I'm frozen on Charles's end because
I don't have any
can
problems
you hear me?
until I get. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you not hear me? I've been talking this whole time.
No, I hear you just fine, but you keep on saying that you're frozen, and I don't see you frozen. So I'm wondering, am I frozen on your side?
Oh no, I keep getting a spinny. But enough about that shit. I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
come.
I haven't
So
seen any interruptions since you came back. So
no.
now there's an interruption. You're frozen again completely. Anyway, Exoterra Incubator Pro, probably really expensive retail. I would guess probably somewhere north of $300. I don't really know if it's worth that much, but it is working really well. I have a second thermohygrometer in there, and it's picking up the temperature and the humidity that I set on the dial pretty much spot on. So pretty impressed with it so far. That's what I have my Coleonyx metratus eggs in, the Central American banded geckos, and they're doing good so far. I incubate them at about 81, 82 degrees, and they're doing good. So that's what's going on here. Charles is definitely frozen. I'm sure he's trying to figure that out right now. We might lose him for a minute and then get him back. But all that said, the title of tonight's episode was, of course, we were going to have another breeder spotlight. We were going to have our friend Ariel Cudia from Aritonnic. He is a really awesome New Caledonian gecko breeder. Also, sort of an innovator in the hobby as well, with some products that he's developed himself. We're hoping that we are going to have him on. We're hoping that we'll see him here in a bit. He did let us know that he could be a little bit late, but we told him, either way, definitely join us. We want to have you on, so we'll just see if he makes it into the lobby. And as of right now, I'm by myself, so this stream is really going well. Yeah, we don't have a lot prepared, unfortunately, because usually when we have a guest, we have ideas of what we want to ask the guest and talk with them. So don't have a ton prepared to talk to you guys about outside of having Ariel on. So we'll wait for him. But in the meantime, it looks like there's only two people in the lobby. Kyle, are you still there? Let me give him like 10 seconds to answer. See if he's there. For those of you who don't know, my old friend in herpetoculture and herpetology, Kyle Riddle, he is the guy in the chat we just showed a minute ago. He's a good guy.
There we go.
I added you to the stream.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on my phone now, doing my best.
Okay. There must be a big delay.
I can't see the chat or anything like that. So if somebody says something,
I'll let you know, or I'll put it on the chat. It's fine.
But yeah, so where were we? Where are you? Let me just ask that.
I was just ending. I sort of ended my section, where I'm talking about what's been going on with me. I was talking about the incubator that I'm using. It's a different incubator. I started out saying I love the Hovabator, but I ended up getting one from a guy who does our shows. I wanted to get a cooling incubator, but he couldn't get me one. He got me a different kind. Doesn't cool, it just heats. And I kind of felt obligated to buy it because he ordered it for me. It's freaking expensive, even at cost. It was like $200. But so the thing retails $350, $360, which is crazy. I don't know if it's worth that, but it is working really well. So
nice, very nice.
You can say that. And then I was just trying to fill the space. I let everybody know, the two people who are currently watching, that we are supposed to be having Ariel on, but I don't know when he's going to get here. So
yeah, he had.
We were told that he could be.
Yo, man, life happens. So hopefully he'll what?
I'm just trying to listen to you. Your voice is cutting out real bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, carry on. Don't bore these people to death. I'm gonna figure out what the fuck's going on over here, and I'll be right back.
I'll do my best not to. It's your wife and one of my best friends, from years back. So we gotta have a conversation. Currently, it'll be on our YouTube channel. It is what it is. It's not going to be our worst video ever, that's for sure, guys. Anyway, I was talking about Kyle. Kyle's a good friend of mine. Yet he says he's still there. Haven't seen him in a long time. We got some crazy things that we did back in the day. We used to herp all the time, and apparently I keep putting his comment up and taking it down, and putting it up and taking it down. Yeah, we used to herp all the time, man. Just go out and look for whatever we could. Kyle's honestly a really experienced keeper who, honestly, we should maybe get you on, bud. If you're still in the room, let me know if you'd be down for that, because we could just have fun sitting and talking and shooting the shit, and talking about what it is you're doing now and all the stuff you've done in between, because I know you've kept some really crazy stuff, including a lot of hot stuff, which is pretty cool. Not something I would really do, but I'd love to talk to you about it for sure. Yeah, so interesting stuff, that I've been doing. I've obviously been working on the old thesis this week. If you've watched it at all, I'm technically still a grad student trying to finish my master's thesis. But during that, I've been listening to some really cool podcasts, other than the one that we have here, the awesome Reptile Hangouts podcast, of course. One of which is Bill Bradley. He has this new pod. Well, it's not new podcast. He's done more episodes than we have. Lizard Brain Radio, really cool. I recommend you check it out. All lizard podcast, just like it sounds like. Really dedicated to different species of lizards. He's had some really cool guys on there. The one that I just listened to the other day has got me like really wanting to do these really cool little agamid lizards called Xenogamma. Xenogamma taylori specifically. They're just these little tiny agamid lizards. They're like not any bigger than like a little like a knobtail gecko, but they have these little crazy spiky tails that are like super wide at the base near the body, and then they get really thin. They're called shield-tailed agammas. That's their one of their common names, but they're super cool. It's the guest he had on for that was a guy from a company he calls himself Arids Only. He does work with some non-arid species, but he does primarily work with desert species. So you got the cool little agamid lizards. You got the a lot of uromastics, a lot of really nice uromastics. I've always loved uromastics personally. So, being able to maybe work with those one day would be really cool. But these little Xenogamma agamid lizards are super cool. They're so tiny. And I imagine if you had a big enough enclosure, you could probably keep a pretty big group of them together. Apparently, they dig little burrows. and they're pretty easy to breed and all that stuff. And yeah, so Kyle wants to jump on sometime. That would be cool. All right, and Caitlin getting in there, getting interactive. Appreciate that, sis. Yeah, so where are they from? What's the care like for them? Gosh, I don't 100% remember where they're from, but they are an arid desert species. So looks like Charles could be back. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. Here we are.
I hear you're really good for now.
Well, I loaded I switched my internet around and loaded an episode of JRE, and everything was working fine. So I closed it out, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, cool.
Continue talking. Don't let me interrupt you.
Yeah, so we were talking. I was just talking about some other podcasts that I've been listening to while I've been working on my thesis. I thought it would be cool to mention a couple of them. One of which was, of course, the Lizard Brain Radio, and the recent episode that I really enjoyed was about the Xenogamma Taylori, which are these really cool little gamma lizards. I'm going to look them up because Caitlin wants to know some things that I can't pull right off the top of my head, unfortunately. But yeah, so from the Horn of Africa, they say. That's where they're from. So, and they are a very arid lizard, kept in really dry conditions for the most part. The guy from Arids Only did say, though, that interestingly enough, you would think that because they're from such an arid climate and they dig these really dry burrows and stuff, that they would want to lay their eggs in those burrows. But the eggs actually are more apt to lay in like moist cocoa fiber and have a lot of luck with that. Bless you. But yeah, let's have a look at these guys because they're really cool. I'm going to bring up a picture.
Yeah, pull that up.
Or some pictures and share my screen here. There we go. Look at them, man. They're pretty freaking cool, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and they're little. Like you wouldn't think from the pictures that they'd be little, but they're like like 5 inches, like max. They're just tiny little guys. But yeah, they kind of remind you of like a little, almost like a bearded dragon with like a half Eurymastix tail.
Yep,
because they get the little spiky tail.
Base.
Yeah,
that's weird. That's cool.
Yeah, and I guess they're omnivores, kind of like beardies. They'll eat, they'll eat some greens, and then they'll also eat insects as well, which is pretty cool. That's just one thing that I, had listened to recently that I thought was really cool. Now it's got me like really wanting them really bad. I actually found one of his ads on Fauna. They're not cheap. They're like $425 a piece,
Yeah.
which is crazy. I guess because they're rare. Like nobody's really working with them.
Yeah, I've never seen one. So
yeah. So number one, I don't have the space or the time for them right now, and number two, I don't have the kind of cash to throw down for a group. But one day I will. Other than that, I mean, the Lizard Brain Radio is really cool. I highly recommend you check that out. I was saying to Kyle before I started talking about that maybe we should have Kyle on sometime because he's a friend. We could just sit and chat, man. I mean, not only has he had some really interesting, cool stuff that he can talk about, but it'll probably be one of the coolest. What?
I say he's got some stories, no doubt.
Yeah. Not only that, but we can, he's one of the boys, so we can have a nice, relaxed episode at some point. So yeah, definitely he wants to do that. So I'll get in touch with him and hopefully we'll figure out a time. He's out in Colorado, so we'll have to deal with a little bit of a time difference, but nothing we haven't dealt with before.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, other than that, there's another cool podcast that I've recently come in contact with called Colubrid and Colubroid Radio, which is pretty cool. Dr. Zach Loveman, who is he's actually here in my state. He got his master's degree, same school I'm going to, Marshall, but he's a PhD now at West Liberty University, where he runs the zoo science program, which is pretty cool. Like they have like a whole herpeticulture section, so you can like get your master's degree in herpeticulture, which is what I wish I would have done probably. Honestly, that would have been. Hey, shh! You hear the bird? Yeah, we have a bird. He's been pretty quiet for most of these podcasts, but he's making some noise tonight.
Yeah, I hate that.
So Colubroid Radio, pretty cool. A newer podcast. They're on I think they're like 6th or 7th episode. But I guess they're getting met with some pretty good downloads on all on all the major platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, stuff like that. Definitely check them out. They talk about some cool snakes. And that bird is crazy loud, she said. And that wasn't even loud, Caitlin. Like, that wasn't even loud at all. That was nothing. If he was really going, we'd just have to shut down. But yeah, they talk about some cool stuff. They've had some interesting people on, including Kathy Love. Like, if you know anything about corn snakes, then Kathy Love is like the corn snake queen from way back. She's, like one of the pioneers of the corn snake industry, basically. So they've had her on, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I don't have a lot of stuff to fill the space with here. We're 20 minutes into the show.
I feel like it would be met with open arms. We get some science-driven people on here and get down to herb science, the reptile science, and a lot of the studies and the contributions that they make that people don't even realize, including myself included. So that we've always been big scientists. So
yeah, I've reached out to a couple of people, so we'll see if I get any response back, and maybe we can get something on the schedule. We do have a really cool guest for next week, which I'm pretty sure will make it and definitely be there. Is Richard from the Tarantula Collective. So be looking forward to that one. Richard's a cool guy.
Anybody that can just be around spiders is a man.
Yeah, you got that over you.
Yeah. 15-foot snakes, I'm good. 3-inch spiders, count me out.
Yeah. No, he's a cool guy too. I met him in person at the Reptile show up in Moundsville that I did a few weeks back. Yeah, he was there doing a video on the show. If you haven't seen it, go to his channel, check it out. It's about the Tri-State Exotic Animal Expo. He really did our expo justice, man. Like, it's a nice expo, I think, for being a small, within the state expo. But his video really made it look nice, and he did a really good job getting some publicity.
Speaking of tarantulas, do you know why I don't like tarantulas? Where's your tarantula, Nick?
In a cage in my bedroom.
All right, where's your first one?
Well, it did end up being found dead after it got out.
Yeah, after it got out. Exactly. Fuck all that. And I was at your house while you didn't know where it was, and then waited.
I didn't say anything.
Told me that it was loose. So smart.
I wasn't going to say anything while you were here.
No, because we'd have found that motherfucker one way or the other.
Yeah,
we were ripping your place apart until we found
I went on.
I was not sleeping.
What happened is I went on vacation with the family. We went down to Florida, and I had my brother-in-law come over to take care of the animals. And one of two things happened. Either one of the cats got on top of the enclosure and knocked the lid enough for it to get open, or maybe his son, my nephew, possibly was playing with it when he wasn't looking. I don't know what happened exactly, but one of the two things happened. I came home, and there was no spider in the enclosure. So a few weeks later, Liam, my son, found it under the bed, like just barely even under the bed, just like all shriveled up, dead.
Yeah, under the bed. Yeah. Fuck you, under the bed. Fuck out of here, man. Fuck out of here. Never. And as a matter of fact, the next time I get to your house, I'm going straight into the room and looking at it and making sure it's in that damn enclosure. Because if it's not, I'm leaving. Fuck it. Drive right back.
It's definitely in there. I made a lock for it. So
did you?
Locked. Yeah,
that's good. Should have left it at the store.
I got it at a show, man. Well, I needed a new one. I didn't have one, so I made it a new one. She says she feels like spiders are crawling on her.
Yeah.
Just talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, man.
Yeah. I don't touch him though. I have a Mexican red rump now. He's spicy. I don't mess with him.
Spicy. So give us a little background on those, because I don't know shit about spiders. So
tarantulas are like pretty easy to take care of, like across the board, from what I understand.
Not how to take care of them. Like, can they shoot the hairs and shit? I don't know much about spiders.
Yeah, he can shoot. They have the urticating hairs on their abdomen, so they can. He'll flick them off. Basically, he'll just use his back legs and flick his abdomen hairs off, and they can get stuck in your skin and get in your eyes and make you itch. Right?
I think I got
it's got a similar effect.
Pet World days before I was.
I used to get haired all the time.
Yeah.
But Why is it spicy?
When you say spicy, what are you talking about?
I
Like
mean,
toxic?
aggressive. Like, yeah,
Okay.
not like toxic. Like, he couldn't kill me or make me sick or anything if he bit me. It would probably hurt, but he just wants to bite. Like, he's not friendly.
Well, because
So,
spiders are like, now I'm not gonna say all spiders, but like especially with like your bigger species of spiders, don't they all contain some sort of like
yeah,
cytotoxic venom at least?
yeah,
So
they
like
all
the
have a
weird
venom that they
thing is like
use to.
necrosis maybe,
Yeah,
which I
they're
mean
using it to.
necrosis is not good, but it's better than a death sentence.
Yeah, yeah, they're using that venom to immobilize and then partially digest their prey. Not even partially, like almost, like basically fully, because
Yeah.
they're injecting the venom. Everything liquefies, everything gets sucked in, and then you're just left with a little shriveled up husk of an insect. If you're feeding insects to your spiders, which most people do. I know that their range does go into, obviously they're Mexican. The names in it, but the range does go into other parts of Central America as well. We actually found some in Belize, and I actually held those. Wild tarantulas. I put them in my hand. There's pictures from the trip of one in my hand,
I
and
might do
I
that.
won't.
I
I
would
won't
maybe
hold.
do that because of the whole
Just
when in Rome thing, you know?
right because you're
Like, if
there.
I
Yeah.
knew where they are, I'd be like, "Alright, fuck it. Give me one and then get it off of me quickly." But
Well, my yeah.
what's the one now and these now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, these are all great questions, so we need to, put these in the box for next week, but I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
you, you probably know. I saw it on some show, some animal show, and, the damn spider is, like, one of the most deadly spiders on it like a banana spider? Is that what it is? They're, like, lightning fast, and, like,
No
they
idea.
they come over in, like, crates of bananas or something. I read something about that. I don't know. Or not read,
I
but
have
watched.
no idea, to be honest. I'm not a big.
But
I don't
pull
have
that up.
a lot of
Pull up,
knowledge
like,
on
the
spiders.
banana spider thing.
I mean, I know banana spiders are a real thing. I just don't
Well,
know
that might be a common name, or that just might be something that's sticking in my brain. Kyle, if you know, throw it down there, because
banana
I
spider.
just know I remember the damn thing was, like, lightning fast, like, it was, like, one dude died because he was trying to, like, shoo it with a broom, and it, like, crawled up the broom and bit his
Five.
hand.
There's an article here. 5 types of banana spiders, from harmless to venomous. Let's see.
Yeah, pull that up. Let's see what we got
Banana
here.
spiders. You're not alone. Turns out there are 5 types commonly known.
Can we
Here's
get
what
some
you need to
pictures?
know.
I might be able to
Um,
recognize it if I see it.
well, yeah. I mean, everything from this like common orb weaver spider, which is considered a banana spider. Apparently, according to this article, this is just
Yeah.
the first thing that popped up on Google. Don't quote me on any of this shit. Like this, like a regular old orb
Oh,
weaver,
yeah,
like
no,
you'd see in
I'm
the garden.
familiar with those.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not an orb
golden
weaver.
silk orb weaver, also known as giant wood spider, calico spider.
No,
Yeah,
so
this
go
is
ahead
kind of
and,
what
pull up.
this is like what I think of when I think of a banana spider, because I used to see these when I lived in like South Florida as a kid.
Well, the only reason I'm saying that is, well, it's because,
Even
like,
this, I don't think is
they are
is
found
dangerous.
in, like, clusters of bananas. The
Yeah,
spider I'm talking about. I don't know, man, just, check out, like, world's most venomous spider or something, or tarantula,
well,
see if
that's probably the Brazilian wandering spider, which just popped up. I thought, did it? I don't know. Let's just look for world's deadliest spider.
by the way, guys, you're learning with us. Yeah, that's that motherfucker on the right, the black
This
one.
one? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a wandering spider. That's a
yeah.
Brazilian wandering
Fuck
spider.
that.
Pretty sure.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, dude. They're like lightning fast.
Yeah.
Man, my fucking cat just sniffed my arm.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Threw you for a loop. Do you think there
spider
was a
on the
wandering
screen. I
spider?
felt her whiskers. I'm like, ooh wee. We
Oh
almost
my
had a
goodness.
fucking cataclysm, as Graham would say.
Oh,
And,
Kyle was
and
saying
God
funnel
damn,
web. Yeah, funnel webs will fuck you up too, I think.
funnel rubs are creepy. Or what's
Yeah.
the is that that's not the same thing as like the little trap door motherfuckers, right?
They might be in like the similar family, but then I know
But
there's
isn't there like a
different
trapdoor
kind of
spider?
spiders. Yeah.
There is
Yeah,
a
there
there,
is a trapdoor
right?
spider. There's so I think there may
Why
be
wouldn't
multiple species of
why
trapdoor
fucking wouldn't there
spiders.
be? Because spiders aren't bad enough. They got to build trapdoors. Fucking crazy.
They're not big enough for you to fall into or anything, so you'll be all
No,
right.
I know that it's not Scooby Doo. Like I know how big they are,
Scooby Doo.
but I mean, still,
It's not
why do you need to
Scooby
do
Doo.
that? Although there is one spider that I would own, and it's the little sandy boy. You know what I'm talking about? I
Hmm.
don't know. He like
Yeah.
buries
So here's the
himself
fun.
in
Here's a
sand.
funnel web spider. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I've seen though.
Little
There's like a
sandy
bunch of
boy. I don't
TikToks
know.
where he's
I don't
like
know.
burying himself. You can't
Yeah,
see me. I'm hiding.
yeah. I don't know what spider that is, but I would own one of those.
I don't know either off top, but yeah. So here's a funnel web. It does look an awful lot like a Brazilian wandering spider. Yeah.
How deadly are those?
I don't know. I'd have to read. I really don't know.
Look at that. Look at that. It's so cool,
Look at
man. I
look at
love,
those fangs, huh?
dude. I actually like. It's weird. It's a love-hate relationship with
I
spiders.
think the
'Cause I
funnel
think
webs
they're
can really
I
fuck
think
you
they're
up.
really cool and like really impressive, and some of them are really beautiful. But they fucking terrify me. Oh, there we go. Yeah, look at that thing. It's got armor, bro. Dude's wearing straight up leather. It's like something out of like,
Well, they have an anti venom that was devoted to them, so I would imagine they're pretty deadly.
yeah, that's usually the case.
Yeah, yeah, safe to say. Safe to say. But yeah, so interesting stuff.
I would like
Weird spiders.
at some point, man, maybe see if we can find somebody that does that, like milks snakes and stuff for a living. I would love to talk to one of those guys because that stuff's cool.
Yeah, yeah, we could probably do that. There's still guys down at the institutes down in Florida. I'm pretty sure. I mean, at least within the country that I know of that are actively milking snakes. Actually, there's. You know what? I know of a guy who was on another show. I think there's a lab called M Toxins, which I think is actually weirdly enough like in Wisconsin. Um,
Why is that
and they
weird?
have a I just you think of those things like for me for years like I've always known of guys who milk venomous snakes and stuff within the country like basically just being in Florida like that's where all the crazy shit happens. But there's like literally like a venom research lab in Wisconsin like in the middle of like a downtown city in Wisconsin. I think they're like in Oshkosh or something, which is crazy.
A
Yeah,
baby? They're in the baby clothing store?
they're in the baby clothing store Oshkosh bagosh. No, I
That's
think Oshkosh is actually a place in Wisconsin. But yeah, I mean, I'll look it up real quick. M toxins. M toxins venom lab.
yeah, Kyle knows something about hots.
He does. That's one of the reasons why we should have him on to talk about hots.
Yeah, I envy you because I love
Yeah,
them, man. I
yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
like,
They're in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, like right in the middle of the city, like in
where
like a
did you
normal
pull? How
building.
did you pull that out of your memory bank?
I just remembered there's like one of the main guys that works there was on a podcast, and they also Emily and Ed Snake Discovery. They went
Yeah, of
there and did
course.
like a little video a while back. Because basically they have like a big room where all of their snakes and all of they do a lot of scorpion and spider milking as well for venom extraction. But all their animals are like behind this glass in this room, and people can come in, like on scheduled visits and like watch them milk snakes and stuff through glass and shit. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
So yeah, that might be somebody we should reach out to maybe and talk to as just like an interesting episode to learn some cool stuff for sure.
Yeah, man.
Funnel web.
I definitely like perpetuating the education, man. Because I mean, we're always learning.
I mean, yeah,
I love to be an educational channel, whether it's stuff you wanted to know or you didn't think you needed to know, fun facts, whatever it is. I like
yeah.
fun facts. Like snakes, they don't have legs. Fucking crazy.
Kyle says Dr. Ray Hunter out of Florida, one of Tom's good friends, and by Tom he means Tom Crutchfield. So very cool. Yeah, we'll have to reach out. I wonder if Tom would ever want to come on. He doesn't seem like a technology kind of guy. He might not want to be on live. He's been on some videos with people though, so I mean he's not opposed to being on camera.
Nice. Oh yeah.
That would be interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be interesting for sure.
one of these days we got to get together and do one of these things in person somewhere. Go to a facility. tour a facility, record an episode. It'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd really like to do all that stuff for the channel. You know, occasionally I'll make a video here and there for herping and stuff like that when I have time to go do it. And those usually do pretty well. People seem to like to see those. You know, not speaking for you, the subscribers, but that's what you seem to be telling me. So it'd be nice to make some different content for sure. Be cool to go on like a dedicated herp trip or something. Go somewhere really fun.
For sure, man.
We've talked about that before.
Before.
We've talked about it before. Caitlin says still waiting on a episode dedicated to tortoises.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's do it right now. So tortoises.
Let's do it right now because I'm a tortoise expert.
Well, you know more than I do. So here we go.
Probably not too much.
Rundown.
Tortoises. Big, huge, long, giant commitment. Don't rush into getting a tortoise.
What's a tortoise?
Well, a tortoise is typically land-dwelling, what we would think of as a turtle. So all tortoises are turtles, and not all turtles are tortoises. Is that the way it goes? Something like that.
That's the way I would think it goes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It could be one of those weird things where they look just alike, but they're not even related. You know how that shit happens sometimes?
Yeah.
Or two animals are like, this is the same thing, but it's not.
But it's not. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what we call friends of the splitters in the scientific community, in the taxonomic community. The splitters like to go out and find two animals that look exactly the same and then grind them up, test their DNA, and be like, yeah, these are actually different genetically. So we're going to call them two different things just to confuse you herpers.
Tortoise could have nothing to do with a turtle. You never know.
Yep. But yeah, man, tortoises are cool. I mean, I've always wanted to have a tortoise. I mean, technically my first ever pet reptile was not a tortoise per se. It was a turtle, but it was a eastern box turtle. Or it could have been a Florida box turtle, to be honest. I honestly don't remember. I was so young. I just know it was a box turtle. I know our dad said that it was box turtle. My mom said it was a box turtle. He built a little pen in the backyard of the house we used to live in Palm Beach, Florida, to keep it in. And I think we had it for, I don't know, probably the better part of a year back there. And then the neighbor's dog came into our yard and like dug out like the side of the pen, and the turtle just took off on his own. So, yeah. So technically, my first ever pet reptile was a box turtle. I still love box turtles. Finding them outside, you know, going out and herping and finding a box turtle pretty much makes it an awesome day always. They're just so damn cool. But tortoises, as far as pets are
hinge, right? The box turtles have the hinge.
Yeah.
On their under exoskeleton.
The plastron. Yeah, they can close up completely. They have
their shells are like part of their skeleton, right? Like they're actually it's like a form of like an exoskeleton.
They're not really an exoskeleton, but I guess that maybe is a way to think about it. But I don't know. I don't know if that's what we would call it. But they are part of their skeleton for sure. The ribs are fused all into the shell. They have a lot of sensitivity in it. They can literally feel you touching, you know, their shell. Unless there's some sort of nerve damage or they're all fucked up or something. But
I've seen a lot of issues with like nutrition. Most bad shell.
Bad shell growth. Yeah. Bad nutrition, bad lighting, just bad husbandry in general, you know, as far as tortoises that you find in the hobby.
With your tortoises, I mean, are the biggest and the oldest, is that going to be your Galapagos, or is there something?
Probably. I mean, most of your tortoises are going to live quite a long time. You know, I would say that your sulcatas are easily going to get into the, you know, 60s, 80s, 90s range, maybe even longer, probably over 100 years. Honestly, I don't see why a sulcata couldn't live over 100 years old. And a sulcata is a African spur thigh, or the third largest tortoise in the world. At least that's what they say. I could be wrong. That's what we used to say all the time in the pet store. They're pretty damn big. They get like 36 inches across, a couple 100 pounds. Probably the most commonly bred and sold and bought tortoise in the pet trade, which is kind of unfortunate because they're not for everyone, because they get so huge and they're extremely destructive. They need a lot of space, and it's really hard to give them proper husbandry once they reach a certain size.
Yeah.
So
well, what about
if you're out there looking for a tortoise,
aren't those pretty popular?
They're pretty popular, yeah, because most of like the big box pet stores will carry the Russian tortoises. They'll get them in. And those will be the tortoises that they'll have. So if you go to a Petco or a PetSmart, you're more likely to see like a Russian tortoise or maybe a Greek tortoise, another small species. I've seen them there too, as opposed to a sulcata. Now, I worked, and you did too, working for a while, the pet store. A lot of those more privately owned small stores in areas seem to really gravitate towards the sulcatas. They're not incredibly expensive to buy or sell, and they come in really tiny, super small, and they're just real attractive to prospective tortoise owners, but they're not great pets for everybody. Now, that being said, the Russian tortoises, the Greek tortoises,
Now, those are your smaller ones. How long do those live?
I mean, I'm not 100% sure right off the top of my head what the lifespan is, but I mean, 50 plus probably at least, but it could be longer.
Yeah.
I mean, I just recently found out that there was a gargoyle gecko, which I was under the impression lived on average 15 or 20 years, that there is a gargoyle gecko that is at least 40 years old right now, which
What
is
the fuck?
insane. Yeah.
What the fuck? I thought you were gonna
Yeah.
say like 23.
No, 40.
40? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that being said, I mean, and you think about an animal that's notoriously long lived. I mean, if you take care of your tortoise properly and you have a Russian or a Greek, maybe it will outlive you, depending on how old you are when you get it.
It's honestly kind of amazing to me. Maybe it's a similar thing to elephants. Now, obviously, elephants are massive and they're strong and they're built for their weight. But for being, the reason that you don't see a lot of those big animals like and shit like that is just because it's hard on the surface versus like in the water to support that fucking weight day in and day out and shit. But it's like with tortoises, like especially like the big Galapagos ones, they just stand
Mhm.
up and get moving. And I'm like, man, you look like you're about to die at any moment. You're all wrinkly. You're not that big. Like, what the how the hell
Are
do
you
they
alive?
just walk around and just powerhouse through? And they're not that slow. I mean, they're not fast, but they're not as slow as people make them out to be.
Yeah.
They're really not. And from what I've seen, I've never
No, I
seen one
mean,
that was like
you'd be
it's slow like
surprised.
they are on
Some,
TV.
I mean, yeah, not every species of tortoise or turtle is really slow. I mean, obviously, something that's 500 pounds and 4.5 feet across is going to be a lot slower than something smaller. But when they want to go somewhere, when they really are motivated, they can go faster than you think.
Yeah.
Kyle says he's talking about red, so I'm familiar with this cherry head tortoise. Seen lots of pictures of it. It's beautiful. 23 years ago at a Richmond show, as an adult. So who knows how old it was when he got it? It was adult size. What do you think, Kyle? Maybe 10 years old max or minimum,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah. So yeah, they live. I mean, all of them are going to live a long time, and I imagine that if the better you keep them, the more varied the diet, the quality of lighting that you're using, the attention to detail when it comes to giving them, the right. Is there a baby crying?
No,
I say I don't hear
we're good.
it.
Continue talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, you give them good quality husbandry, you could expect them to live longer than what the average is, than what they say the average is. So I mean, if they say the average for, and this is just hypothetical, I don't know, for a Russian is 40 or 50 years. I mean, you take really good care of it, maybe it'll live 60, 70, 80 years. I don't know. Maybe it'll live 90. Who knows?
Not
You
to
know?
cut you off. Did you notice that this stupid vape from my vape only came out of one nostril?
No.
Yeah, and I was just looking
You're
and
completely clogged.
yeah, my left is just fucked. I saw it. It was like,
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, tortoises are cool. I think the best advice that I could give, not being a tortoise expert, is just do your research and get the right amount of tortoise for you. I don't have a tortoise because I can't have a tortoise right now. I don't have a place to keep a tortoise. It would not be fair to get a tortoise. I want a leopard tortoise, which is like a medium-sized tortoise. It might get like 30 or 40 pounds.
Nick, explain this.
I know he's old based on plastron and carapace wear. LOL. So plastron is the bottom of the shell. Carapace is the top of the shell. Yeah, he's just basically saying that it's worn down, over the years. It's got a lot of wear and tear on it. The tortoise has a lot of miles on it.
Is it
It
true
is
that like
it's a
if you
certified pre-owned.
certified pre-owned, you can only
Yeah.
do that with certain anyway, we're not getting into that. Is it true
He's
that with
not
like
talking about like rings or anything. Yeah.
or turtle. Well, you see the ones that have like the pyramids, and I've heard that's from like malnutrition.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of malnutrition and a little bit of incorrect lighting most of the time. So not using good UVB, or if you get UVB, this is one of the things that's becoming really popular with when we talk about UVB now. Is that it used to just be, okay, this lizard or this tortoise needs UVB, so I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna get a UVB light. But what you never really thought about up until recently is how much is that actually putting out, and for what distance. You know what I mean? So if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get a
it's a
UVB
think
light
about a
and you
lot in the chameleon world.
yeah. So its question is, how effective is that light? So if you were putting, you know, back in the 90s, you got a tortoise and you bought a UV light. I mean, we're already talking about 90s technology, so the UV wasn't that good anyway. And you put it, 24 inches above the tortoise, probably wasn't getting any UVB, really usable at all. Now, if you're giving your tortoise outdoor time, or if you're keeping it outdoor at least part time, then it's getting unfiltered sunlight, so it doesn't get much better than that. But you also do have to feed it a nice varied diet as well, with good quality food. And I think, based on just learning from people basically on YouTube, I know I'm bad because I've, just watched a lot of guys that keep tortoises on YouTube. But again, I'm not keeping a tortoise, so I haven't I don't need to read a bunch of papers or anything like that. Maybe I will if I do. But I think the formulated tortoise diets, that they honestly should probably make up a large portion of your tortoise's diet, with fresh foods mixed in, because those formulated tortoise diets are like Missouri, are totally balanced. They have
Like the
everything that a
pellets or
tortoise needs.
whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what a lot of guys do. Camp Kennan, he's huge on YouTube, has like basically a wildlife sanctuary in his backyard, and his main thing is tortoises. I think a large portion of his tortoises diets are the Missouri tortoise diet. He does feed fresh. Obviously, he goes out there and throws different types of food at them. He also grows a bunch of stuff right on the property that literally falls into the pens and they eat it, like as on a seasonal basis. He's got mango trees over certain tortoise enclosures that drop mangoes seasonally, and then the tortoises go ham on the mangoes. And they only get that when the mangoes fall. So they're basically getting a naturally supplemented diet, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's smart. That's very smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
What fuck. I was gonna ask a while back, but you were talking, I didn't want to cut you off. Son of a bitch.
You're good.
Oh yeah, you said you were thinking about getting like a medium tortoise. What do you mean by
Leopard
that?
is what I really want.
Okay.
For tortoise. They're an African species, probably 30, 40 pounds, maybe like 20 or so inches across. So medium sized tortoise, but
Okay.
still needs a lot of space. You can get them as little babies, just like the sulcatas. You can buy them, as little babies, pretty reasonable, a couple $100 sometimes. But and then you can probably keep them in a fairly small, tortoise table type enclosure for a while, but not for too long. Within a few years, you're going to be looking at needing a lot of space, like half a room size space, probably, to really be fair. So, oh hey, look,
Hey,
Mr.
how you
Mike.
doing, Mike?
I did it. I called you Mr. Mike. Oh my goodness.
Nick, at it again.
Wally has been calling me Mr. Nick in every comment since Gabe called me Mr. Nick, by the
That's
way.
good. He should. He should. That's hilarious.
Mike, what's going on? I saw you in the auction the other night for Gab. Well, Gabby's usually there, but it was just the guys the other night. So, yeah, Mike Buckus, how's it going, buddy? It's good to see you in the stream again. Unfortunately, I think I can probably safely call it at this point. We're guestless tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you to Ariel for trying to come on. Maybe we'll have you on
Definitely.
another time. But unfortunately, it didn't look like he was going to be able to make it. So we're just kind of winging it here. We're just talking about whatever. Any interesting questions for us, Mike?
Just browsing. Yeah, that's me
you're
every time I get into those auctions.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to have him. He did say that he could possibly be late, and alluded to the fact that if he was late, he might not come in. But I told him if he's late, please just come in anyway. But I think this is later than I was thinking. I was expecting to maybe be like 10, 15, 20 minutes late. But He must have got hung up, so it's all good.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so we're just kind of hanging out, and we can probably call it soon. I mean, we've been on for 50 minutes, so you guys have projects you plan to start in the future? Great question, Mike. So, do you want to do
Yeah, man.
the first answer on that?
We've been kicking it around forever. We're just waiting to fucking get the animals, man. Figure out what we want and actually get started on it. But we've been planning a corn snake project for a while now. We just haven't done the first step, which is actually
Yeah,
secure the corn snake.
yeah. I mean, I used to breed corns back in the day. It was one of the first species I bred, along with bearded dragons. They were what I was sort of focused on. But I want to get back into them. I live in West Virginia. You may know, you may not. He lives in Virginia. I can't have them, but he can. So if we do waiting on funds then or selecting right stock. Yeah, that's pretty much it, Mike, is really just selecting the stock at this point, deciding
We have
what.
no direction. We have no idea
Yeah,
what direction we want to go. So input, if you got it, would be helpful because we're like,
yeah,
these are cool. These are even more badass. Well, fuck it,
yeah,
let's wait. We can't decide on one way or the other.
yeah.
Sometimes it's phenotypical, and then sometimes it's locale specific, and we're going back and forth.
That's what I've been thinking for years, since I got out of corns years ago. And now I've been thinking, that when I have the ability to get back into snakes, corns would be cool. Unfortunately, like I said, I can't keep them here and do anything with them really. I mean, I can probably keep them without getting, quote unquote in trouble. But then what am I going to do if I breed them? I can't get rid of the babies. So, he says he's caught some growing up, but doesn't know much on corns. Yeah, honestly, Mike, I don't even know much on corns anymore because they've done so much crazy stuff in the last several years since I've been out of the game that I don't even know. I listen to podcasts where they talk about corn snakes. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what these morphs are. There's all
I do
kinds of crazy stuff going on.
I thoroughly enjoy the motleys. I enjoy
Motley's are
the
cool.
motley morph across many species, but I think the corns do it best.
Motley's
I
are very
love
cool.
so
Yeah.
maybe a motley. We really just need
Yeah,
to.
Motleys are definitely cool. I used to work with caramel Motleys when I was doing it. Those were a lot of fun. I was thinking about doing locale specific stuff. I really like Oketees, like true Oketees, with the really nice blacks around the saddles. So getting into what you laughing at?
I'm just giggling, man. It's nothing to do with you. Just fucking. I'm a
I'll just
fucking.
check. Let me check my name. Make sure my name's
No,
right.
man, I'm a mess. My head is like I'm
Oh, it's
trying
all
to
good.
exhale and I can hear air coming out of my ears. It's just insane.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
stuffed up. I'm laughing at myself. Sorry.
Yeah. But other than the corns, Mike, on the front of like stuff that I've been wanting to try to do, and obviously I can't do any of it right now. I got to get into some more space first, but I want to work with some other gecko species. I definitely want to do Peridora picta. That's like a big thing that I've wanted to do for quite a long time. And I'll probably get with Wally when the time is right to get some pictas, definitely. Um, Other species that I really want to work with, gecko wise. I'd like to branch into the other banded geckos. I'm currently working with the Central American bandeds, but I would like to get into the Texas banded geckos specifically. I think they're really cool. So definitely want to do Coleonyx brevis. That would be fun. Let's see what you said here, buddy. So they've gotten into the point of balls, or are they still plenty to discover? Enough demand out there in the market. Yeah, so I've been listening to another podcast that's on the Herpeticulture Network called Corn Stars, specifically all about corn snakes. They've only had a few episodes. They do them few and far between. But they were talking about the prices in the market on an episode that I was listening to the other day. And apparently corn snake market has gone up. In general, the prices are up on corn snakes, which I guess is good news. It's always nice when prices go up on things a little bit market wise, because then, you sort of get away from that mentality of it's a cheap, sort of point of sale throwaway type animal, which unfortunately is what, some people's mentality is when they spend 15, 25 or $30 on something, as opposed to maybe a couple $100. As far as the morphs go, are there as many as ball pythons? I have no idea, but I know there's a lot more than there was
No,
like 7 or
no,
8 years ago. Yeah, but
no.
probably
The answer
not.
to that question is no. But I'm hopeful. It just takes a few people to put in the work that was put into the ball pythons. But they're the ball pythons, they were caught so early with they people would notice them coming out of the shipping crates, you know. This one's different.
Yeah,
Put it aside. And we kind
right.
of lost that. We we don't really have that with corns. Not that it doesn't happen,
Well, they
just
are they are
we don't have
finding
that
them
same
occasionally.
volume like they did with the balls.
Right. Well, there are
That
still
was
people
back in
bringing them in from the wild. They're still finding some interesting looking ones in the wild and bringing them in and bringing those into projects as well. There's some people who are primarily focused on that actually, which is a good thing in a lot of respects. I mean, it may possibly lead to something new as far as like a color or a pattern morph, but it also is bringing in, completely fresh, unrelated genes into the gene pool, which is nice.
definitely. Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how the lorry ball got here. She it
Yeah,
was
I don't even remember what the dang lorry ball
working
looks like.
and they worked it and then proofed it out. It's just one of those things,
Well, I
man.
know that's how Brian Barczyk did the first pinstripe ball python. He got a call from his guy over in Africa, the importer, saying he had a cool one, and he said how much to get it here, and he said 75 grand. So he paid him $75,000, and he got the snake in, and then he ended up proving it out as a dominant trait. So he was making them hand over fist. He was the first guy to make them. Dominant. It's easy to make,
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Outback
nice.
has bags of wild caught imports now. Yeah, that's not surprising. Um, Still importing wild caught ball pythons. Craziness.
Honestly, I didn't even think of that. I kind of just assumed that there wasn't really a market for it anymore. Just because like it seems
Yeah.
like they've been on fire for fucking 30 years now.
Right.
So it's just like I mean, because that all started in like the early 90s, right? Like when the ball python craze went
Yeah, I
good.
mean, people were keeping them prior to that. People were
Well,
definitely keeping
yeah,
ball
but
pythons, but when I think the first, I'm trying to think of the Lizard King, which I've only
I
read
know,
slash
man. I was
listened
thinking
to
about that
a
book.
hundred thousand times. It's like my favorite book of all
I was
time.
just
I listen to it
listening
like
to that
five
book
times a year.
earlier because I was actually going to listen to that, and then I found that audiobook of the Graham Hancock Magician of the
Oh
Gods.
yeah,
So I ended up
yeah.
listening to that, but
But
yeah, that's
yeah, so I think honestly, I know that the first, I think it would have been the late '80s or something like that when the first like albino Burmese python uh, thing happened with Bob Clark. Bob Clark was involved in that. Tom Crutchfield was involved in that. They got the snakes originally that they were stolen from a guy who had them in like Indonesia, I think, and then
yep.
they got them back to him and basically worked out a deal to buy them, and then Bob Clark was the first one to produce
The
clutches of
early days of
albino
importing
Burmese.
animals was like the Wild West, man. It's crazy the shit that went on.
Yeah, yeah, I would.
Rather unfortunate, but it has kind of allowed us the hobby that we have today. So
Yeah, I mean, if I could go back in time and tell myself a piece of information that would help me in the future, I would give myself all the information that I know now about morphs that didn't exist when I was a kid. And I would say, do whatever you can to get money, and you buy these, and this is how you make babies. And then
yeah,
I would be Brian Barczyk. They'd be like, Brian, who's Brian Barczyk? I'll be like, oh, that's right, that's me. I forgot.
that would be
No, I'm
nice,
just kidding.
man. That would be
Yeah.
nice. Man. That would be nice. What about you, Mike? How
Whew.
are you doing? You got
Yeah. What?
anything crazy going on?
Yeah. What are you working with,
I
man? I don't
switched
even think I know.
contributor to this show. We need to have an appreciation guest
Right.
of the
Of
year.
course.
Like yeah, it's gonna be Mike. We're gonna have Mike on. Mike's always out there contributing, man. Gotta love it.
Yeah, he pops up all over the place. Like I said, I saw him in the auction the other night with AJ and so Brian from Sundown. It was Brian, AJ, and Brett. They were all at AJ's house doing the auction. They had some tempting things. They were tempting me, man. I don't have that kind of money to throw around right now, unfortunately. But
It's kind of
Brian had some
Amazon, man.
yeah, Brian had some really nice chihuahuas available. So yeah, but yeah, Mike, seriously, like, what do you work with, bud? Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't even think I even know, to be honest. Like what you're working with. I've seen you in a bunch of other streams and stuff. He says he's got crusty projects I want to do, but need funds. Also like blotch gargs. Yeah,
That's the truth.
so we're along the same lines for sure.
Need funds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, need funds. I could always use some extra funds for sure.
I'm trying to start a bioactive project for my carpet python, but I don't want to start it until I can get the what the hell is it? I think it's 36 by 18 by 36 Exoterra, the extra tall one.
Yeah.
I think that would be the.
You said you could get that one for about 300.
Yep.
I think that's not too bad. That's pretty good, actually. It's a good price. Yeah.
I like keep
They
my
just
eyes
have
out
to.
for the used stuff though. Just
Oh
'cause
yeah, if you can find a used one for sure. The market seems to be so much better there than it is here. Like I can't find stuff like on Facebook Marketplace and stuff around here. Like if I want to get a terrarium, I have to come there and buy one brand new from the store to get the good deal on it. That's like that's the only
when I
way I can
was
get them.
looking, when I was looking for chameleon setups, I could not find any, um, except for the one that I ended up getting. You know, that's where I got my Miss King and everything from as well. But now the other day I was looking up that 36 by 18 Exoterra, which I figured nobody would really be selling because that's a pretty substantial terrarium to have. And most people that have something that they want to put in that and they spend the money on that, they're not really getting rid of it. But I thought I'd, just type in Exoterra in the Facebook Marketplace. Like 45 chameleon setups popped up. Local pickup. I was like, man, get the
Yeah,
fuck out of here.
that's
Are you
crazy.
kidding me?
Mike
That's
says
just
he's got just oh wait, I clicked the wrong. He must have just put that in. Used marketplace finds are few and far between now. Yeah, I agree. They are where I'm at anyway. I know sometimes I'll do searches for where you live, Charles, just to see what's available because I like to see what I'm missing out on. And usually there's way more stuff
yeah.
than
Well,
there is here.
I can usually get my hands on some small stuff.
Right.
Anything small is pretty much readily available around here. But anything of size or quality, nobody's selling
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, what I'd like to do, and well, let's get off of that for a sec. So we asked Mike what he's doing. He says he's working with Cresties. You like blotch gargs? Get with me at some point, Mike. I think next year I'm going to start producing blotches. So if you wanna get in on that, let me know. I'm sure I'll have some babies next year, and we can work something out for sure. But what specific like morphs of Cresties are you working with? I
Is
know
what
for me, it's kind of focused. I know he can't just. He says count me in. Cool. Yeah, definitely hit me up. For me, it's pinstripes, and I have my quote unquote red project that I started this year. I have a female that I produced and held back who's more red than any of the other ones I produced, and then I have a red based extreme like high pattern harlequin from Morph Menagerie that I bred with her. Um, So we'll see what kind of reds we get out of that. And then last year I picked up a extreme harlequin lavender female who gave me my lily whites because she was bred to a lily male. And this year I bred her to my yellow pinstripe from Pangea. So we'll see what they make. He's almost got kind of like a lavender base to him too. So maybe some lavender stuff this year would be pretty cool.
yeah.
And then red stripe gargs, as always. That's what I've been doing for the last few years, red stripes. But working on blotch for next year. Got my mail.
Yeah, we got a hell of a mail.
Yeah, we
Oh,
definitely
man.
do. Yeah, just for fun, I'll go ahead and pull them up. So yellow Harleys at the moment, says Mike. Need to get more females, then looking to do red patternless red phantoms. Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because I have a red phantom. I think it's a female, actually, because the size of it at this point, I would expect it to have produced bulges by now. But yeah, so the red phantom that I have is pretty crazy. But here, I'll show you the male blotch that I got from Gabe just recently. Share window. There we go. That's Hellboy. He's pretty cool. Definitely excited to get him breeding with my female super blotch, who Charles named Karina, which I can probably find a nice picture of her from back in the day. Nicer picture, anyway. Yeah, there she is.
Instagram.
Yeah, she's older. She's older, or she's bigger than that now. That's an older picture, is what I meant to say. So yeah, I got that, and then you want to talk about a cool. This is a reel, but that's my red phantom, and that's it says no color edits. It's literally no color edits. That's just the phone camera on the regular setting. Super fired up the other night. Really cool. I don't have a name for this one yet, so anybody can think of a cool name.
Oh yeah, always accept a name request, man.
Yeah, I have a few that I don't have named. My Chihuahuas don't have names. My wife keeps giving me a hard time about that.
We're definitely not letting her name anything.
What?
I said we're definitely not letting her name anything.
Yeah.
The name of the dog. Fuck that all up.
Oh, it's funny, dude. So I guess that ever since Netflix did a version of that show, even though it got canceled, right? Mind you, they did a version of it, a live version of
Cowboy Bebop, by the way.
Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, it was an anime show, and then Netflix did a live action version of it. And Mike says he names his after spices. That's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, I name everything after like television, pop culture characters, and we've been sticking with like astronomy, astro,
That's what I'm trying to do at the Gecko Galaxy side of it. Yeah, is to stick with astronomical type names. I have my red female that I told you about. That's a holdback. Her name is Redshift, so that's like a physics thing, like an astrophysics thing. So Redshift. We have her. We have Carina after the Carina Nebula. We have a couple that are more sci-fi names than they are astronomy names. We have Leia, like Princess Leia. We have Mr. Data from Star Trek. Which is pretty cool. And we have who else? Oh, Corvo, which is sort of niche. If you're a Rick and Morty fan, there was a spinoff, not really a spinoff of Rick and Morty, but same creators, a show on Hulu called Solar Opposites. There's a character, one of the main characters' name is Corvo. He's named after that. It's an animated show. Everyone seems to have themes, says Mike. Guess you can do first initial of Dame and Sire, then under the offspring.
Yeah. Websites and stuff. What were you saying about your wife and that stupid TV show?
Oh yeah, I guess since since Netflix did a live action version of it, it's become more mainstream. We've been out recently, like in stores, and seen like specific products for Cowboy Bebop that have the dog, the corgi, with the dog's name on it.
No way.
Yeah, there was a backpack the other day. I should have took a picture of it and sent it to you. It was a whole little like fun little kid's backpack that was like a little chunky little corgi, and it had a collar on, and it said "Ein" right on the tag. Right on the tag. I was like, damn.
Dog like a cyborg.
Yeah, he's like a cyborg corgi, and he's male.
Yeah, you have a non-cyborg corgi.
We have a non-cyborg female corgi who's named after him. Yeah. Yeah, she's a little pain in the ass. She is a pain in the ass. But yeah, so we've been on for almost an hour and 10 minutes, bro.
Yeah, man.
Should probably think about calling
it, guys. This is gonna have to be the end for me. I have to get up in the morning for work. And
yeah, I'm going back to the lab tomorrow.
Can't breathe out of my nose. So
work on thesis. So yeah.
Oh man, definitely. Just as always, a huge thank you to everybody that came out tonight to hang out. Mike, it's starting to feel like we couldn't do this without you, brother. So we're going to make sure we get up with you via social media or something, and we're going to get you some merch. We got to finish producing it first, but we're going to get you some merch as a thank you. Really appreciate the support, man. So again, thank you guys for hanging out. We're hanging out talking about reptiles because this is Reptile Hangouts. We're going to have Kyle on here very soon. Don't forget, I'm sorry, thought I was going to sneeze.
I think he still will.
All right, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Don't forget to sneeze. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, hanging out, reptile hangouts, all that fun stuff. Like, subscribe, check us out next week for a very awesome guest experience. You can't get it anywhere else. Here we are, another week. See you next week. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.